life. Welcome back, and thank you to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. Thank you for helping me grow the platform. But we're going to be doing a giveaway and things of that nature. But I was going to just leave this under the migrants topic when I get back to it. But I am so sick of hearing about what's the man name? Kilmar Garcia out of Massachusetts, who was deported to El Salvador, his home country. I'm so sick of the Democrats. I'm so sick of this political issue. They have made the man has been here illegally since 2012. He received not one, oh Lord, where'd that come from? Not one, but two deportations from the immigration judge. The latest one was 2019. He didn't want to go to El Salvador, but he was supposed to turn himself back in to be deported where he wanted to go. He is an MS-13, and as Tom Homan has told everyone, that when they pick up a specific illegal migrant, illegal, who walked across the jungle to get here, when they pick them up and they are around, there were other people who may be casualties, guess what? They all get deported. I'm just trying to see, how are these people defending this man? And he has two orders of domestic violence against this great father, against the woman, and a restraining order. What the hell is going on? What is happening? This is insane. Why are you George? You know what? I know. George Soros, the number one who wants to destroy America. Yes, he must be paying y'all a lot of money to throw your constituents under the bus. Because not once do y'all come against all the murders that have happened, the rapes of children, of women, of unalive American citizens. These people are illegal. He is illegal. He is not a United States citizen. Hell, he got enough due process. He's seen two immigration judges and was told to leave, to deport. I mean, what the hell? What the fuck is going? I mean, this is just unreal. It is insane. He is not a U.S. citizen, point blank, period. Why are you protecting these people who walked across the jungle? Literally. And my thing is, I wouldn't even, if it was me, I wouldn't even get you no plane ticket. That's being just too nice. You walked your ass over here, walk your ass back home through the jungle. For real. Now that's how I feel about it. Get the hell out of here. And I'm going to stand on that. And I'm so sick of hearing this man's name. You in El Salvador, you from El Salvador. That is your country of origin. You are MS-13. They had a video, and hopefully I got it, where they shaved the man's head, because everybody that's in CCOT, they shaved their head. He had MS-13 tattoo on the back of his head. I mean, what the hell? What is going on? This is insane. How you put these illegal people over United States citizens is beyond me. Also, I did a video, 4 or 5 months ago, maybe longer, on the truth about migration. During the time under the Biden administration, our borders were controlled by United Nations. We signed an agreement under the Global Compact of Migration for Open Borders. Biden signed the agreement, the UN, and that's why all these illegals from everywhere around the world came and walked in and they were paroled in. Trump has been in office. He has withdrawn us from UN, United Nations. That's your top Illuminati right there. Took us out of NATO, took us out of climate change, which is a hoax. I'm going to get into all that one day. And what I'm saying is him versus the real Illuminati, not that they use music to hypnotize the masses of the people. That part. But these are the top. I'm going to get back into that, the New World Order. But I'm just saying, God, I'm so sick of this man. He is not a U.S. citizen. And then the senator, he fly over to Salvador, meet with the VP. He want to meet the man and see if he okay. But when they killed Rachel, that migrant from El Salvador, and raped her viciously, strangled her, the mother of 5 kids, from being in the park, this senator ain't said a damn thing in Massachusetts. Not one thing. No, nothing. And for my Christians, I try not to cuss on here because y'all done told me over and over again, don't cuss. But F them. And that's how I feel. F them. F all of the elite. F them. Ain't no more handouts. Ain't no more free medical. Ain't none of that. I wouldn't. Let me tell you something. We could not go to any country in the world and get 5-star hotel rooms, food, board, money, a job, classes to speak the language. We would not receive any of that. Help you find a job, all that. We wouldn't do that. And then you have these sanctuary cities that are literally bankrupt. And then, of course, Trump stopped the funding. California, 69 billion deficit. Now he's suing Trump. That's a different topic. Your money stopped. But you bought a $9 million house with millions of missing, with all that missing money for the homeless. Don't even get me. Chicago, $4 billion deficit. The mayor's so corrupt. If you look at my videos on Brandon Johnson, he the worst mayor with a 6% approval rating. $4 billion for helping illegals. Eric Adams was the only smart one out of New York City. Because the thing is, you don't have to like Trump, but if you need something and you need money for your city, you need money for your state. I don't like Whitmore at all, but she was a smart governor. She met with Trump. After they met, she declared the state of emergency to get money for her constituents. You ain't got to like and power, but one thing you need to be cordial to get what you got for your constituents. Idiots. Listen. Now, I said what I said. I stand on what I said. Now, we're going to go through all this BS with this man. Here go the judge. A tyrannical leftist judge that is not following the Constitution. He goes, nothing has been done. Judge slams Department of Justice in case of wrongly deported man. He is not wrongfully, he is illegal. He is not a United States citizen. He came in illegally through a non-port of entry, which is Title 8 in the Constitution. That's why Trump used the Illegal Aliens Act from 1776. It's in the Constitution. If you come through a non-porter entry, you didn't pay the money, you didn't take the classes, you did not pay and go through the ceremony to learn the cultures, the language, and the customs of the people, he is illegal from El Salvador. Anyway, getting back to this because I'm so pissed about this. The DOJ said it doesn't know the whereabouts of him. How he in CCOT, he in prison. That's where he at. This is foreign affairs. El Salvador President Bukele, he said he not releasing him. But you fly your senator ass over there asking to see this man who is illegal, or where he can go and see if he can talk to his wife and all that. Really? What about all the citizens that's locked up here who've been convicted wrongfully for getting in prison? You ain't going to see about them. You ain't going to see about Rachel, who was killed by illegal in your state, you son of a bitch. You didn't do none of that. But you gonna fly over there. But they didn't let El Salvador, they didn't let you see him, did they? Nope. You are a senator. You're not the president. He did let the VP talk to you. You ain't even talk to the president because he was out of the country. You just on a fluke like you doing something. This why y'all losing. You are going against what the American people wanted. 77 million people wanted them gone out of this country. The federal judge overseeing the case, who was deported in air, he was air. And if they did facilitate him and bring him back, guess what they're going to do? They're going to deport him again because he is illegal. The fuck? I mean, slammed the government's handling of the case Friday in order to Justice Department to provide her with the whereabouts and daily updates on ways to bring him back. El Salvador President Bukele, in a meeting, which said he is not releasing him. What is the problem? Case closed. He is not releasing him back to America. Case closed. What did? Why don't you take your ass, Judge? Uh, I want to say some choice. We're over there, and you get him your damn self. See how that work out for you in a foreign country. From now until compliance, I'm going to require daily updates. The, Buka said he is not releasing him, period. Go get him your damn. See, that's what I'll be doing. I'll probably be fired and everything else because they'll be like, yep, she is so, you damn right. You go get him your damn self, Judge. District Judge Paula Zion said at a hearing in Maryland on Friday, we're going to make a record of that if anything the government is doing or not doing. The judge said she will require updates provided by an official with personal knowledge of Garcia's status or his location. He in C Cop prison, bitch. I mean, that's where he been. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. Please forgive me. What steps the Trump administration has taken to facilitate his return? The president of El Salvador said he is not releasing him. What you want to do? Break down the jail? What additional steps the government will take to return him? I have never. George Soros is paying y'all a lot of money. The judge said the Supreme Court, in its ruling on the matter late Thursday, was quite clear in directing the Trump administration to facilitate the return of Garcia. That's a lie, bitch. You don't even know that is a lie, and I'm gonna show you that's a lie. The Supreme Court has spoken quite clearly, and yet I can't get an answer there about what you've done in the past, which means again the record as it stands is that nothing has been done. Go get him yourself. Judge Zayas began the hearing by asking the answer where he was. Who cares? F him. That's how I feel. F him and all of the other illegal. If you walk across and I'm taught now, in order to claim asylum, your country needs to be in a civil war. Haitians have a right to claim asylum. Ukrainians have a right to claim asylum. Africans from Darfur, Sub-Saharan Africa, there's a civil war. That's your right. And then you go to the closest country of origin first. Not walk through the Darien Gap, a jungle. So anyway, the stupid judge, where is he and under whose authority? I do not have that knowledge and therefore I can't relate that knowledge, Inside said. I'm not asking for state secrets. I'm asking where one man who is wrongfully and illegally deported. Unreal. Your Honor, I do not have that information to provide to you. Now, his attorney, Simone Mossenberg, told ABC News following the hearing he found the DOJ's lack of answers regarding Garcia terrifying. Why? Take your ass over there, attorney, and you go get him. It's really distressing to me that the first question the judge asked the lawyer for government is where is Garcia under what custody? And even that basic question he wasn't able to answer. That's terrifying. I don't care. 77 million other Americans, just like myself, do not care where he is. He is illegal. Asked if he believes the government is slow walking to return, his attorney said the DOJ is playing the same game that they played at the last hearing, or sending in a lawyer who all he can say is, I don't know what's going on. I haven't been provided that information. Fortunately, the judge put an end to that. No, he ain't because he's still here. So y'all go and break down the prison and see. Let me know how that work out for you and go get them by requiring that their status update is provided by a government official with personal knowledge. Judge Zions decided to go ahead with Friday's hearing after the Trump administration. Wednesday, April 16th, 2 days after El Salvador President Nayib Bukele is scheduled to meet with the White House. She scheduled the hearing for late Thursday, affirmed her earlier ruling ordering Trump to facilitate his return back to the United States. And she also ordered the Trump administration to file by 9:30 last Friday a supplemental declaration form from an individual with personal knowledge acknowledging the current physical location. He's in prison, ho. Attorneys for DOJ requested the deadline for supplemental declaration be moved to next week, but in her filing, the judge moved the deadline back by only 2 hours. In response, the DOJ told Judge Zions in a fine they were unable to provide her the information requested on such a short notice. In light of the insufficient amount of time afforded to review the Supreme Court's order following the dissolution of the administrative stay in this case, defendants are not in a position where they can share any information requested by the court. It is unreasonable and impractical for defendants to reveal potential steps before those steps are reviewed, agreed upon, and vetted. Foreign affairs cannot operate on judicial timelines, in part because it involves sensitive country specific considerations wholly inappropriate for judicial review. You're overstepping your power hole. The Supreme Court on Thursday largely upheld Judge Zions' ordering Trump. No, they didn't. No, they did not. And I'm gonna have this attorney break it down. I love him. That's a lie. The so they saying this. The administration has claimed Garcia was a member of the MS-13 gang, which his lawyers and his wife deny. Well, why he got a tattoo on the back of his head? I seen it. Garcia is no longer in U.S. custody. The courts cannot order him to be returned to the U.S. nor order El Salvador to return him. That's a fact. Trump administration has emphasized its role in carrying out foreign policy, which was also cited in the High Court's order. The Supreme Court said, now this part is true. The Supreme Court said the lower court judge should clarify her earlier order with due regard for the reference owed to the executive branch in conduct of foreign affairs. For its part, the government should be prepared to share what it can concerning the steps it has taken. In a statement by the DOJ, as the Supreme Court correctly recognized, it is exclusive prerogative of the president to conduct foreign affairs by directly noting the difference owed to the executive branch. This ruling once again illustrates that activist judges do not have the jurisdiction, facts, to seize control of president's authority to conduct foreign policy. That is a fact. Reacting to the Supreme Court ruling, the attorney for Garcia told ABC News that the rule of law prevailed. Yeah, it did. He ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. Oh, shoot. Because I'm so tired of it. Okay, I'm not going to read this. Oh, I already read that, so I'm just going to delete this. Okay, now the Supreme Court acknowledged that the status of Garcia as an alleged MS-13 gang member and potential threat to American public remains contested. It also makes clear he is under an order to be removed from the U.S. since 2019, but expressly not to El Salvador. The unsigned order does side with President Trump's administration in believing the lower court's deadline to return Mr. Garcia was not acceptable. The deadline has now passed and the issue is mute. But y'all keep talking about it. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, I don't like her, and Ketanji Brown Jackson issued a statement agreeing with the court's decision and reaffirming due process requirements of all migrants in the U.S. custody. And I'm even against that. Due process is for American citizens, not for illegals. You weren't born here. Now, that's my personal feeling. In response to Garcia's attorney said the rule of law prevailed. Right. Well, he ain't coming back. Get over it. And since you married him and had a baby, go move your ass to El Salvador, and then you go visit him. Because I gives no cares about him. Now, federal courts have no authority to direct the executive branch to conduct foreign affairs or engage with foreign sovereign in a given matter. The Department of Justice said on Sunday in response to this Dangon Garcia guy who has been deported to El Salvador. That's the Constitution. Plaintiffs' additionally relief runs headlong with this constitutional limit. They asked this court to order defendants to make demands of the El Salvadoran government, dispatch personnel onto the soil of an independent sovereign nation, and send an aircraft into airspace of a sovereign foreign nation to extract a citizen of that nation from its custody. Where does that make any sense? Make me have to smoke. Oh, I ain't got my Where does that make any sense? I'm sick of it. Don't make no sense. The request by his attorneys involved interactions with foreign sovereign and potential violations of that sovereignty. He is not coming back. F him. This how F look. F him. That's how I feel. Plaintiffs invite this court to exceed its own authority in the precise sort of way the Supreme Court cautioned. Oh, let me see. So his attorneys basically denying that he is MS-13, but the lower courts, immigration court said he was. That's where it came from. They said he was. Now, despite being issued a 2019 court order barring his deportation to El Salvador, where his attorneys say he escaped potential violence in 2011, was sent to country's notorious CCOT mega prison in March, following what the government said was an administrative error. Oh, I see, because they sent him to CCOT and he requested not to go back to El Salvador. I don't even see how you got that right. Who cares? I don't. Then President Trump, people were all mad because he said if the Supreme Court told him to return someone, then he would. And then you have a lower court who does not have the jurisdiction or the authority to give a 5 p.m. deadline to return somebody from a sovereign nation, El Salvador. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. So all the illegals had until last Friday to register, and that's a court order who sided with the Trump administration to register. And if they don't, that's immediate deportation if they found. Man, that's my next one. I'm gonna do him and Soldier Boy. Hmm. 414. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Who is this? Is this Soldier? Oh, okay. Oh, we gonna do Soldier Boy and TK. Okay. Let me finish this. Excuse me, I'm trying to get all this stuff on my phone. Okay. I got so much. I might get into the tariffs. I don't know too much about that guy who stabbed the guy in Texas. I gotta read up on it. I gotta read up on it. I got a lot on Whitmore. I am I am proud of her. Okay, that's YSL. This Wendy Williams. We ain't talking about her. I do gotta talk about that Carmel Abbott. All that GoFundMe, they go buy a house. Man, if that ain't wrong, that's for your legal defense. Okay, here we go. The wife of Kilmar Garcia, the Salvadorian migrant who was wrongfully deported. He was not wrongfully deported. He is from El Salvador. He is an illegal, been here illegal since 2012 with two deportations from 2018 and 2019. She had a temporary order of protection against him in 2021, in which she cited she was being slapped, she was hit with an object, and being detained against her will, according to court documents obtained by ABC News. Jennifer Vasquez Sewell obtained a temporary protective order against Garcia in May of 2021, according to state court records in Maryland. That by himself, whether he had a deportation or not, that he is illegal, and now he been beating up his supposed wife, and he's such this family man. That's a grounds for deportation. Period. The order required that Garcia have no contact with her and that he stay away from their shared residence, the records show. And they have been living together and they have a 5-year-old child. Now, then the second one said he scratched her in 2021 court documents. I'm going to keep this information. Let me see. Now, she said Friday, in which she alleges that Garcia punched and scratched her eye, causing her to bleed. That same day, Vasquez said that when she told Garcia that she needed to go to the store, he got angry, started yelling again to the point that he ripped her shorts and shirt off. And I ran to the bathroom. He ran behind me, grabbed me by my arm. I have marks on my left arm as well. At this point, I am afraid to be close to him, she said. I have multiple photos, videos of how violent he can be. No, you're going to stay in El Salvador. Vasquez obtained a temporary protective order against him May of 2021, according to state records in Maryland. The order required that he have no contact with her and that he stay away from their shared residence. In a statement, she said, after surviving domestic violence in previous relationship, I acted out of caution after a disagreement with Kilmer by seeking a protective order in case things escalated. That means you was afraid. My suggestion to you, pack your bags, move to El Salvador, and see if you can visit him there. Now, that's what I say. She goes on to say, we were able to work through the situation privately as a family, including by going to counseling. Kilmer and Kilmer has always been a loving partner and father, and I will continue to stand by him and demand justice for him. Well, like I said, take your ass over to El Salvador and go visit him. Move there with him, and you get the hell on too. She has denied that he is affiliated with MS-13. Well, he was caught with known gang members. Then, in another incident in 2020, Garcia hit her with his work boot, and that in August 2020, he hit her in the eye. You want him? He ain't changed. Most domestic abuse, they don't change. Trust me, I know. He ain't changed. The protective order was dismissed a month after it was issued on June 17, 2021, after Vasquez failed to appear in court, according to a signed order dismissal by the judge. ABC News obtained documents submitted to Maryland court in August 2018 by a man who claimed to be the father of two of her children. In a 5-page motion for an emergency hearing, he said that she was living and dating a gang member. This is in the court. Now they say it is not known if he was referring to Garcia. Who else was he referring to? They was living together. The initials of his children's name listed in custody complaint matched the ones that Vasquez listed for kids in declarations submitted in Garcia's case. He appears to have left some sections of the complaint unfinished, including what custody terms he was requesting. However, and finally, he said he will allow Vasquez to visit the children on the condition that is supervised. In 2019, the case was dismissed because Vasquez wasn't served. Her attorneys did not respond to this. You can't paint him as being illegally deported. On Tuesday, a federal judge ordered government officials to testify under oath about how they facilitating his return. Okay, I can delete this because I said that. In a statement released by ABC News Wednesday through her attorney, who has been vocal in her support of Garcia during his incarceration in El Salvador, after surviving domestic violence in a previous relation, I acted out of caution after a disagreement because you were scared of him. You still are. Okay, I think that's it because I'm so sick of hearing this like he was a saint or something. Man, wasn't no saint. Danye, turn that down. I'm live. Or close your door. I never seen people who put illegals over American citizens, but y'all gonna pay for that. So then, like I said earlier, the judge said they face criminal contempt for okay, well that's about the Venezuelan. El Salvador president refuses to return wrongfully deported. He's not. He came here illegally. And Trump revoked the temporary protected status on Venezuela's on all about 531,000 illegals. The president of El Salvador said in a meeting with Donald Trump that he would not order the return of a Maryland man who was deported to El Salvador's mega prison. He said the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I'm not going to do that. He added, don't have the power to return him to the United States and said he would not release him. So what is case closed? El Salvador is not going to release him. Stop talking about he ain't coming back. Point blank, period. I'm not very fond of releasing terrorists into the country. Federal courts have no authority to direct the executive branch to conduct foreign affairs in a particular way or engage with foreign sovereign in a given manner. That is the exclusive power of the president as a sole organ of the federal government in the field of international relations. He is not coming back. Get over it. Move over there, lady. In 2019, an immigration judge had prohibited the federal government. That's not true. Let me see. On Saturday, the Trump administration confirmed that Garcia was alive and well and confined in the mega prison CCOT. Then on Sunday, the Justice Department said it interpreted the court's order to facilitate, which means give him a flight, as the only requiring them to remove any domestic obstacles that would otherwise impede the alien's ability to return here. It added no other reading of facilitate is taintable or constitutional here. In a separate court finding, and that the 2019 order preventing Garcia's removal to ESTA was no longer valid as a result of the administration allegation that he was a member of MS-13 gang, which is now a designated foreign terrorist organization. On Monday, during the Oval Office meeting, Trump and Buko, Stephen Miller, White House Homeland Security advisor, repeated the claim that the 2019 order was no longer valid when Garcia was deported and that bringing him back to the U.S. would be to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back over here. Exactly. The attorney Pam Bondi echoed it was up to El Salvador whether they want to return him, not the U.S. That's a fact. Bondi also claimed the Supreme Court ruling meant that if El Salvador wants to return him, we would facilitate, meaning provide a plane. And then he was going to be deported back again anyway. But Miller also said no version of this ends with him living here in the U.S. Facts! I'm so sick of hearing this bull crap. Okay, we done with that. Thank God I'm almost done. Okay. Here we go with this bull crap. Here go the lies first here.
The US China trade war has kicked off.
Oh no, wait a minute. That was the wrong one. Mm.
Supreme Court has ruled that the Trump administration can use an 18th century wartime law to deport Venezuelan migrants, but said they have to get a court hearing before they are taken from the United States. In a divided decision, the court said the administration must give Venezuelans who claims are gang members, quote, reasonable time to go to court. But the conservative majority said the legal challenges must take place in Texas instead of a Washington courtroom. The court's actions appears to bar the administration from immediately resuming the flights that last month carried hundreds of migrants to a prison in El Salvador. The flights came soon after President Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act for the first time since World War II to justify the deportations under a proclamation called the Tren de Agua gang, an invading force. Several other cases are pending, including over President Trump's plan to deny citizenship to U.S.-born children of parents who are in the country illegally. President Trump has praised the court for its actions.
Facts.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also paused.
Facts. I don't know why I can't.
Begin with Letitia James because she's spiraling out of control. She actually just filed yet again another lawsuit. We've been
Of hope that gives me power about just black people.
She in trouble.
Listen, this is a new lawsuit, okay? This is the
She
brand
in
new
trouble
one that she's
anyway.
bringing because the Department of Education said, you know what, we're not the way your agenda does not fit with my agenda, and we have the federal. The idea somehow that you're not allowed to.
Okay, that didn't come up real. So no. Oh my God. Close your door. Close your door. Can y'all come and get me? Hold on, y'all. Give me a minute. Let me close. I done told him 20 times to close the dang on door. All right, hold on. Let me see. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for. Oh. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. I love this man.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode.
So I'm just gonna get to the part. He is law self-defense. He is a great law.
And thank you, Judge Paula Zinnes. She recognized the limits of the authority in Jurisprudence 7. One business in immigration court, except in 2009. And I'll answer those for free.
Okay, here we go.
You're on YouTube. They need to be in the form of a $5 super chat, and that's per super chat. Now, I would encourage, instead of doing that on YouTube, that you become a law self-defense member. You can be a law self-defense member. It's less than $10 a month to get all your questions and comments addressed for free. Or you can do it $5 per question and comment on YouTube. Your choice. But the fiscally sound decision seems to be pretty clear. Become a law self. 99 cents.
I've noticed when I put a video, this when StreamYard started out, when
you
I
do
was
what you
reading.
think is best for you. If you want to do super chats and memberships on YouTube and all that stuff, that's absolutely fine. I've got no complaints. Just wanted you to know the less expensive option. That gets you other benefits too. We do a lot of
Oh
use
my
force
God, I
analysis
can't,
about
because I want to make sure I get the
self-defense.com that we don't
beginning
share
of
on
this.
YouTube because YouTube doesn't like the blood and gore and stuff. So if you're into knowing how to be hard to convict, if you ever have to defend yourself, your family, your property, you get a lot of content on that, a lot of expertise. Being a self-defense member that we don't do on YouTube because I got tired of getting strikes on YouTube. All right,
Here
let's
we
take a
go.
look at Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. What's this guy's history? Well, 2011,
2011, he illegally enters the U.S.
Just illegally comes into the U.S., hides from immigration authorities for 8 years. For 8 years, and he was still trying gang members.
Nah, he got arrested in the company of MS-13 gang members.
Were gang leaders. And in fact, Abrego Garcia is identified by reliable informants as a senior MS-13 member himself with gang name, gang rank, the whole thing. That same year, he's put in front of an immigration judge. He's represented by counsel in front of the immigration judge. And the immigration judge, one of the questions is, can he bond out while he's waiting to find out what's going to happen to him? And the immigration judge says, no. Because the government's argued you're a member of MS-13, I find their evidence and argument compelling. I am adjudicating you a member of MS-13. This is all happening in 2019, folks, 6 years ago.
Facts.
So he's designated by an immigration court while represented by counsel, getting all this due process as a member of MS-13 and as deportable, being an illegal migrant, unlawfully in the U.S. He appeals his order of deportation and his MS-13 identification, and it's affirmed by the Immigration Appellate Court. More due process. Then he does ask for a favor. And it's just a typical illegal immigrant. He can ask for the favor of picking a nation he does not want to be deported back to. And he picks his home nation, where he's a citizen of El Salvador. He says, Your Honor, there's a gang in El Salvador that has a real thing for my mom's pupusas. Pupusas. My mom makes the best pupusas in El Salvador, and this other gang doesn't like it. Doesn't like that she's such a good cook. They cause trouble for her, and they cause trouble for everyone in her family, including I am a member of a vulnerable class, subject to torture and other horrific things because of my mom's amazing pupusas. And the
You
court
can't
says,
make this up.
Sure, whatever. Like you weren't taught by your left-wing lawyers to tell you what. We'll do you the favor of withholding deportation to El Salvador. Abrego Garcia's own lawyers, he himself agreed the United States was within its authority to deport him anywhere else in the world they wished to. And they said, thank you for that kindness of withholding deportation to El Salvador. So, of course, at this point in 2019, with a final order of deportation in his pocket, Abrego Garcia did the right thing and self-deported out of America. Naturally. Of course not. Of course not. He didn't do a damn thing.
Right.
He didn't do a damn thing. He disobeyed his final order of deportation. He stayed in the U.S. illegally, as if all this due process in immigration court had never happened. Had never happened. All this due process that America caringly provided to him, being a nation of laws. No, he just decided, I'm not going to obey any of that. And then things changed. 6 years after receiving that final order of deportation, 2025, this current year, in February 19th, Secretary of State Marco Rubio designates MS-13 to be a terrorist organization. Well, of course, 6 years prior, Abrego Garcia had been adjudicated by a court with due process and legal representation as a member of MS-13. So now he's a U.S. designated terrorist.
Facts.
It's another reason to be deported, in
Facts.
addition to simply being illegally present in the country. And about a month later, on March 12th, Abrego Garcia is arrested as a member of the MS-13 terrorist organization. Guess what, folks? Guess what? Guess who's ineligible for withholding of deportation to a nation of their choice? Guess who's eligible for this favor that Abrego Garcia asked our American immigration courts for, and which they granted to him, that he would not be deported to El Salvador? Guess what happens to that favor if you're then designated a terrorist? It goes away. It goes away because designated terrorists don't get the benefit of a withholding of deportation to some country of their choice. So it was no longer prohibited to send Abrego Garcia off to the tropical El Salvadoran prison resort of Sikot.
Facts.
Which is where he went on March 15th. Apparently, his family saw him being paraded into Sikot with a bunch of other dudes, terrorists, on TV while it was being televised. And they said, "There's our Kilmar. There's our Kilmar, Armando Abrego Garcia. What's he doing in Sikot? He's only had a final order of deportation for 6 years. He's only a designated terrorist. Pobrecito. Get him back."
Facts.
So they went right to federal court with a bunch of left-wing lawyers, of course, on March 24th.
And there it is.
What's next for Tamor McIntyre now that he's been
Oh,
convicted of
not that. Oh, wow. It's that. Lord.
Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a massive bombshell.
I hate when this thing does that.
next for Tamor McIntyre
Oh,
now that
sure, they keep. Okay.
Happy Monday, everyone. We got a lot going on. For starters, MS.
Why isn't it not giving me what I want?
Mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
the country's president saying he will not send the man back to the U.S. despite a Supreme Court order.
Fox 5 Stephanie Routini has been following the developments all day. There have been a bunch of them. Stephanie.
Hey, well, while the Trump administration has acknowledged mistakenly deporting Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia because of his status, the man who was living in Maryland is Salvadorian. The administration has said he had ties, although the man's lawyers have said he's not involved with 13 or any of gang. Abrego Garcia's name today during a meeting in the Oval Office, where the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, sat down with President Trump and members of the administration. El Salvador has supported the Trump administration as it continues its crackdown on illegal immigration. Bukele said he is eager to work with the U.S. to combat crime from illegal immigration. El Salvador has taken in hundreds of alleged Venezuelan gang members who have been deported from the U.S. after the president enacted the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia Salvadorian who is living in one of those deported and in a high security prison in El Salvador with very tough restrictions. The Supreme Court ruled, though, that he should be returned to the U.S. because he had an order.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I played what the court said.
By local gangs. Today in the Oval Office, it came down to an apparent matter of jurisdiction. Here's what the president of El Salvador had to say and what Attorney General Pam Bondi had to say.
It's like I followed him into the United States. Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
That's up El Salvador. If they want to return him, that's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
Just over the weekend, the Trump administration deported 10 more people it alleges are gang members to El Salvador.
All right, Steph, thank you so much.
So he not coming back. Get over it. I want to get rid of this. There we go. Send that one. I can unsend that. Oh, I can unsend that. Oh, I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff because we said that. Now here go a Democratic senator. He done went there, couldn't even see him.
Van Hollen is urgently requesting a meeting with the president of El Salvador this week during his visit to the U.S. to discuss the return of Abrego Garcia, the Maryland resident who was wrongfully deported. Van Hollen says he is prepared to go to El Salvador if Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not returned. Caroline Forbach has the latest.
It's been more than a month since ICE arrested Maryland sheet metal apprentice Kilmar Abrego Garcia and deported him to a maximum security prison in El Salvador. The Trump administration has since admitted Abrego Garcia's deportation was an administrative error. The Supreme Court ruled the administration must facilitate his return.
It is absolutely unjust and illegal to have this Marylander detained one more day in a notorious prison in El Salvador.
Maryland. He is an illegal. He is not a U.S. citizen. Unbelievable.
Chris Van Hollen of Maryland requested to meet with Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele while he's in the U.S. this week to discuss Abrego Garcia's return. At a press conference in Greenbelt Monday, Van Hollen said he intends to go to El Salvador himself if Abrego Garcia is by midweek.
I understand the Attorney General said that we would provide a plane to bring home.
But you said nothing about the illegal that unalive Rachel Moore raped sexually multiple times, strangled her to death in Massachusetts. Nothing. Then they held a visual for this man in front of the White House. Who care? I don't care. You get no sympathy from me.
Is not this the fast that I choose?
President Trump, bring Kilmar home now. And to the president of El Salvador, who is, I think, having words with our president today. President Bukele, we call upon you to respect the human rights and the fundamental human dignity of Kilmar. Do everything in your power to keep him safe until he can be safe.
Tradition, we
He said he not returning him.
part of one body. And every single part of this body is precious, indispensable
The administration now.
So I noticed when I play
Because they
videos
say
when
he's
it
in the
messes
hands
up.
of a sovereign foreign nation. And even as they say that, the president of that foreign nation, of that other nation, is in the White House right now discussing this historic partnership between our two governments to house detainees from the United States in the Seco prison in El Salvador. Shame. In other words, we know that when they say they're powerless, that is a lie. And so we unite to pray to God, to pray to all that we will say, that our government do the right thing and bring Kilmar home now. Bring Kilmar home.
Bring Kilmar home! Bring Kilmar home! Bring Kilmar home!
Well, it's gonna take God to bring them back. That's for sure. All right, we just about finished. I just want to show a couple more things. I'm gonna keep those videos though. Let me see what is it. Oh no, that's the trade war. I sure ain't doing that now because I done got sleepy. Oh, that's Black Sam. Just give me a few minutes. I think this is the same.
Yo, what's up, man?
Of course, it's Beta. Damn. This is unbelievable. Okay, here we go.
The fallout from that bombshell Oval Office meeting yesterday set to play out before a judge today. Both sides are due back in court in a follow-up hearing for the man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. And here is where things stand right now.
It was not a mistake.
Ordered the government to facilitate Kilmar Abrego Garcia's return to the United States. The U.S. Supreme Court that ruling. Listen, leaders had Oval meetings in El Salvador were asked if they would bring Abrego back home.
The ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we can give him a second time.
Well,
no version of the ends up with him ever here because he is a citizen of El Salvador.
The United States.
So, and in danger. His wife responded to yesterday's meeting saying that Trump and Bukele administrations can in a new
My thing can move over there.
Democratic lawmakers are speaking out, calling for a meeting with President Nayib Bukele. They say not returning him would be equivalent to kidnapping. Listen.
Of course, President Trump could have just said, bring him home. Of course, he could have done that. But this is an administration that has lied about Mr. Abrego Garcia, right?
No, they haven't.
The United States tweeted out that he had a criminal record. That was a lie. They're just lying. They've gotten caught lying.
They showed the documents of domestic violence and everything else this man has. And he is illegal. He is not a U.S. citizen. What is going on?
They don't want to admit it. And they have an obligation to bring him home.
No.
I will say the president of El Salvador should not now take it upon himself to say that he is detaining him for one more day. Because that is, I mean, I understand that the said plain bring home. So all the president of Salvador has to do now is hand over and release an innocent man and let him come home to his family.
Let's bring in CBS News.
And he is not innocent. He is illegal. That part.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand, she is live at the White House following all of this for us. She joins us once again on 24/7 this hour. And Natalie, you've been listening to a briefing. What can you tell us? What have you heard?
Are expecting she's going to be getting a lot of them about this Maryland resident, Kilmar Garcia, who has a big court hearing today of the individual who the government, the administration admits was mistakenly deported.
It was not a mistake.
In some of her opening comments today. Let's take a listen.
President Trump and our administration will not rest until every single violent, illegal alien is removed from our country. The safety of the American people is too important to settle for anything less. On that note, the Democrat and media outrage over the deportation of Garcia, an MS-13 El Salvadorian legal alien criminal hiding in Maryland, has been nothing short of despicable. Based on the sensationalism of many of the we deport a candidate for Father of the Year. That's because, unfortunately, many in this country care more about this quote-unquote Maryland father, a legal alien MS-13 gang member, than a Maryland mother and an American citizen who was brutally murdered at the hands of a different illegal alien. Of course, I am referring to Rachel Morin. And if you didn't see yesterday, a Maryland jury found illegal alien Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez guilty of murdering Rachel Morin in August of 2023.
You heard Caroline Levitt there, Garcia as a quote criminal, although again the administration has not provided the media or
yes, they
public
did.
with a lot of details.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. This is unbelievable.
If I don't hear from him and Abrego Garcia is not quickly returned, I do intend to go to El Salvador this week.
Oh boy, travel to El Salvador and try and facilitate a deal to release Kilmar Garcia into El Salvador, even though the president of El Salvador is literally saying, "Are you guys insane?"
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the capital of the world to the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back?
Kate, it's good to be with you. I did request it. I've not heard back from the president of El Salvador.
You're not going to.
If I don't hear from him and Abrego Garcia is not quickly returned, I do intend to go to El Salvador this week to show solidarity.
And what happened when you went there? He didn't meet you. You didn't get him back. They wouldn't even let you visit with him, a-hole.
Everybody, a top Chinese official caught on camera publicly, actually, wasn't really caught on camera, calling America.
I don't even know where that came from.
with the government to provide a service for certain compensation. 2012. Each of those judges issued a preliminary injunction ordering Trump to give these women their jobs back, not just pay them their salaries.
Oh, no. That was,
period.
okay, that's for the union. That ain't for this El Salvador. Hold on. We almost done with this one. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Okay.
Court has ruled that the legal definition of a woman.
Okay, hold on. Then they had to go to court to.
He is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back. There was no situation ever where he was going to stay in this country. None. But he's from El Salvador. He's in El Salvador, and that's where the president plans on keeping him.
Point blank, period. He is not coming back. Just a couple more and we done.
The senator from Maryland who's all worked up about the Garcia guy saying, I got to go save him. He's like ready to bust into the El Salvadorian prison. Kid you not. He said so today. Now just remember, this guy, when the Maryland woman died at the hands of an illegal migrant, horrible situation, he didn't have anything to say back then. He was just mad because, the Republicans wouldn't approve all the money that Biden wanted for the border. Keep in mind, they're cutting down border crossings to the tune of 8% with no extra money. No extra money at all. Anyway, here is Van Hollen, the senator, saying he's going to go duke it out in the El Salvadorian prison.
I saw the comments of President Bukele, and I look forward to meeting with them. I've requested to meet with them. I reached out to the ambassador here to ask.
You did meet with them, did you?
But I've also made clear if we can't meet here, I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the release of this individual who is illegally detained.
No, he's not.
Who's the father of three in a notorious prison in El Salvador. And I believe the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to allow him to return to the United States of America.
And he did not. And he did not. He did not.
Senator from Maryland who's all wonder, despite the fact that he's here illegally, and help you understand it. I point out.
Jesse, these are Americans who he is saying who have committed the most.
He's into subways and hit old ladies with baseball bats to the head.
El Salvadorian president of kidnapping. I mean, this is just getting a little weird, okay? Hey, I know you guys don't know what end is up politically, but let Pam help understand.
Yeah, the president's music sending some of the most horrible people in this country down to that prison. People that push ladies into subways and hit old ladies on the head. Is that legal to do? Is that something you're allowed to do?
Well, Jesse, these are Americans who he is saying who committed the most heinous crimes in our country. And crime is going to decrease dramatically because he has given us a directive to make America safe again. These people need to, as long as the law allows, we're not going to let them go anywhere. And if we have to put prisons in
that, right? The media is going absolutely wild. They cannot accept this. Judge drops case against this man, Garcia, that Bondi is saying was an MS-13 member, because don't forget, that's what the court had decided. I'll go back to this. First of all, like he had been caught trying to come to the country, and I guess this is what this initially was about. In an order handed down on April 10th, the High Court directed the administration to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador. Oh, this is to ensure that the case is handled as it would have been. They like that is somehow somebody was in the U.S. illegally, now getting deported and being in the hands of El Salvador. And I give it, both Marco Rubio was saying, as well as Stephen Miller, that you have somebody who is believed to be an enemy of the state because he was believed to have been in MS-13. So how are you like saying that? How are you trying to say like that we don't have the authority?
Right.
I'm really,
it's
I'm really perplexed by it.
It's insane.
And topic of news this hour, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen landing in El Salvador this morning, where he hopes to meet with leaders about the possible release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He spoke at Dulles Airport ahead of his flight.
This is about the rule of
This
law.
is insane. It's not about the rule of law.
Well, this administration will obey court orders, unlike the last administration. But if you ask me if I'm in favor of returning terrorists in the United States that are gang members that have, murdered and raped young women in this country, no, I'm not in favor of that at all. And hold tight on that one, because it's coming. It's coming. I've been clear on that since day one. The sanctuary city can sit by and watch their communities get ravaged by illegal aliens. They can watch young women get raped and murdered. Trump administration not going to stand for that. They're not going to change anything. We're going to keep terrorists in this country. They're where they should be.
President Trump again blasting Harvard University, accusing it of losing its way after it refused
No, that's not what I wanted. I don't even know how I did that too.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at 4.
Out of this is that the Trump administration has begun to defy the federal judiciary.
That is a lie.
The crisis that everyone has been waiting and watching for.
I want to talk about the withholding of removal status. I mean, what specifically does that mean? Does that mean he has asylum for good? Does that mean he can be deported anywhere else except El Salvador? Is that full citizenship? I mean, what does that look like? What are his rights there when it comes to that status?
So that's a great question, and it's something that a lot of people are getting wrong out there in the reporting, and people don't understand. So withholding of removal is like asylum in the sense that you have to prove you've been persecuted on account of a protected ground, like your race, your religion, your nationality, your political opinion, your membership in a particular social before. It's very hard to prove. But withholding of removal does not contain the same protections that asylum does, which is lifelong, sure that you will be in the United States. Someone who has withholding, like Kilmar, theoretically be deported to a third country.
Facts.
It doesn't happen very often.
That's it right there. He was going to be deported anyway. I'm so sick of this. I think I'm gonna end with this last one because I'm getting sleepy and I gotta get up in the morning. Oh, here we go with this the senator,
The
dumbass.
setback, Senator Van Hollen says the Salvadorian vice president turned down his request to release Garcia to see him or even talk to him by phone. However, Van Hollen pledged he won't stop trying, calling the circumstance unsustainable and unjust.
You traveled there for
case is-
nothing, with nothing in it. What you thought was gonna happen, a-hole? He is a citizen of El Salvador. And you thought you was gonna see him? Huh? Yeah, you look like a fool. That's what you look like. I'm gonna keep some of this. This the last one. Oh shit. This is
Yeah,
it.
I swear this has got to be the craziest
I'm
story of
telling you, this
2025.
is
Chris Van Hollen
LV
is
Nation.
a
I love him.
Democrat senator who decided to take a trip to El Salvador to bring back an active MS-13 gang member that was in the United States illegally, right? And now he's begging to bring him back. And by the way, today, paperwork has already come out that this guy, there was an order of protection against him by his own wife. This guy was a
That's
wife beater.
what.
This guy was not a good person. And he's
Facts.
in here illegally, and he's actually a citizen of El Salvador, and Democrats are trying their best and spending all their energy and time to go get this guy back. And you're about to, this is him, literally, in El Salvador with the media. And he's having a mental breakdown because El Salvador is not giving the guy back.
Water out the
El Salvador has
refrigerator.
locked up every criminal possible. That's
Facts.
why I've been to El Salvador. That's why they have, he said he was not sure price that they're paying over there.
Going in, that we need more illegal aliens in the country. I'm right there with that. Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, it's Donald Trump that's actually losing support of the American people. Donald
That's a
Trump's
lie.
not focused on lowering the costs of housing, not
wherever you come from. If something happens in the country that you have been raised in or your ancestors are losing, I'm going to show you why you're going to have a very hard time. Earlier today, Patty Morin delivers a message to Chris Van Hollen, to the senator from Maryland who barely acknowledged my daughter. Fly to El Salvador, bring her. This is Rachel Morin's mother, right? Rachel Morin, who is a victim of the illegal immigrants in America. This is why, wherever you come from, if something happens in the country that you have been raised in or your ancestors are from, or you're like a second generation, first generation immigrant, but you have lived in the United States your whole life, right? It's like, I just don't, it's so hard for me
It's
to understand why
crazy.
people
It's
don't get this
crazy.
exact point. Mexico, well, at this point, I don't know about Mexico because cartels have.
And the brutal death.
Rachel Morin's mother, Patty Morin, message to the media. This is like they never. Nangari's mother. Yeah, Chris Van Hollen.
You know what? Let me I'm gonna send that.
After hours, and I know
in 2024. And then you ask, okay, the same question to Kamala Harris voters, and it turns out the numbers are rather similar. So if there was a repeat, if folks got to be able to redo their vote that they had back in 2024, would the result be any different? I doubt it would be. I doubt it would be, or it would still be extremely close. The bottom line is for all the
Close last time.
and it really does.
so the stickiness with President Trump in the presidency. How compare first president?
Yeah, okay. So, I was interested in sort of a historical analogy here, sort of, does this look similar or different from back in 2017, looking at
A referral to the DOJ accusing James of mortgage fraud.
Oh, wait
In
a
a letter to
minute.
Attorney General
That's
Pam
something
Bondi,
else.
Director Bill Pulte.
Criminals from our communities. That is why the American people overwhelmingly reelected him back to this office. And it's why by the American people defeated the Democratic Party in the state election. Today, we have officially learned Democrat officials refuse to accept the will of the American people.
Facts.
Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, protecting taxpayer dollars, to demand the release of the illegal alien MS-13 terrorist. The Democrats in the meeting in this room have continued. There is no Maryland father.
Facts.
Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency nations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with two other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And two separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for two instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here's the order right here. The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, and on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater. To set all of that aside, the basic fact that he was illegally inside our country and had a lawful deportation order made him subject to removal back to his home country of El Salvador. And if he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again. Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a father. He will never live in America again. And the United States Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the President of the United States and the Secretary of State could not be compelled to forcibly retrieve this citizen of El Salvador who is currently locked up in a maximum security facility in his home country due to his MS-13 membership. To remind the Democratic Party, MS-13 are among the most and dangerous individuals in this world. They pose a direct threat to the United States, El Salvador, and any other country who maintains basic law and order. MS-13 rapes innocent girls and women, runs sex trafficking operations, murders for sport, and terrorizes law-abiding people. Salvador President Bukele made it clear this week that he will not be releasing this MS-13 member from prison. But that is all of that is not enough to stop the Democrat Party from their lies. The number one issue they are focused on right now is bringing back this illegal alien terrorist to America.
Facts.
But where are the Democrats applying the fence? Southern border crossings just hit a historic low. Where are the Democrats supporting our brave men and women of law enforcement who are putting their lives on the line every single day to arrest the violent illegal alien invaders that the previous administration allowed into our country? And where are the Democrats when innocent Americans are victimized by illegal criminals that Joe Biden let in? It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens. Nobody knows this more than standing to my right. In August of 2023, Patty no longer has her daughter because of the failed Democrat Party's open border. And President Trump is bringing an end. Patty should not have to be here today, but we her willingness and her request to share her powerful story with the world. Thank you, Patty, for being here. Thank you.
Of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know. But when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. I am to the grocery store with girls. Because he waited for her to come closer.
Come on now. This is it. This is it.
Attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood.
Wow.
The culverts, where he picked her up. He threw her at the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks still standing.
Wow.
He used them to hammer her head against those rocks.
Wow.
They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head.
Wow.
They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell.
Wow.
Pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't one in her body didn't have some kind of injury.
Wow.
Bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches, fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull. And then he takes her into the tunnel and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood.
Wow.
He showed us her body against the wall, outlined the blood, outlined her body. And you can see where the blood ran down around her as he raped her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her.
Wow.
He didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story.
Wow.
They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And they went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles.
Wow.
Because of how strong and violent the group was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion. Like, to them, this is nothing. And when he was sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face. so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they sealed the pictures, because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country.
Facts.
These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters?
I don't know.
There's even any kind of
Conversation.
problem with this. And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as American citizens. We need to protect our families,
Facts.
our borders,
Right.
our children.
Right.
I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive. And someone comes and puts their hands into your chest. That's what it feels like. It feels like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or if your first kicks, or to just leave a girl. It's the only thing that mother knows. Why
are we protecting American
and to
citizens?
have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge, or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother. And he gives my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador.
Facts.
To bring back someone that's not even an American citizen.
Come on.
Right. Than I do.
Facts.
Or my daughter. Or my grandchildren.
Facts.
I don't understand this.
I don't either.
Thank you.
And I just want to say that as a mother and as an American citizen, the president and our entire team, and I hope people in this room are grateful for your willingness to come here and your request to share your daughter's story. And I think the country hears you loud and clear. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me? No? I have a question. No. Anybody? Okay. We'll see you all later. The president will be at his dinner later. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Only one question. Only one question. And that must have been CNN because she didn't accept that question. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm about to do this other video real quick, Soldier Boy, because that shouldn't take long.